Hi everyone, my name is Kemi Omorogbe and you're welcome to Kemafrik. So we'll be treating the conclusive part of 6 or 8 pieces blouse. So if you haven't watched the video where we drafted the pattern and cut pattern on fabric, put this video on pause while you go and watch that particular video. So today we'll be sewing and we'll be starting with the bustier. We'll fix the bustier, fix the neckline, fix the sleeves, and the most important aspect of learning is to practice what you learn. We love it if you can follow suit, make yours, and also sew it along with me. And when you do that, I'd like to see a sample of it. So let's go to the sewing decks, and in no time we'll have a 6-8 pieces blouse ready. Here I have all my patterns. This is my front panel. This is the center front. Remember we created a zipper allowance here. That's our V neckline. And this is the side panel. I will fix this way for the front. Remember we created notches for our bustier. So now that will guide us when we are fixing our pad. And this is the side panel for the back. This is the center front, center back for this is the back panel, and this is the center back here, and this goes this way here. So now I want to fix the pad for my front panel. So I'm going to be checking for my notch. Remember the notch we made when we're cutting. So see, I've notched where my bust point is. Also I have the same notches this way. So now I also notched my pad, so that will mean I don't have to start measuring and all that. I just put here's my two side panel. Remember, this is the pad that goes with the side, and I've already marked the upper part of that pad and notch the midpoint. So I'm putting the sticky parts against my clothes. I'm matching the notch. See this notch? So I went for a very soft pad because I don't actually want it to look padded. So you can see how it just fits in that way. I'll do the same thing on the side panel. I marked the part that goes up, and we have notch on the part that goes to the center. So I'll just match it this way as well. So the first thing I'll be doing here is to sew my center front panel to the side panel. So I'll start sewing from the hem here. I'll sew up, sew up, sew up, sew up. Remember we added a little bit of excess here, so if we still have it at the end, I'm going to trim this armhole out. Now we are moving on to the sewing of our panels. We're working on the front fabric first, and the first thing we'll be doing is to align the notches on the sides together. Remember we created notches at the waistline, at the under bust, and at the nipple point. So now these notches will come in handy, and after aligning the notches, we'll be sewing by 1/2 inch all through, because I added 1/2 inch allowance when I was cutting my fabric. Once we are done sewing our panels together for the front, we'll create tiny notches on all the curved edges. Remember, the bustier will be curvy, so you need to create these notches and iron in properly. Now I'm done with one side of the front, so I'll do the same thing on the other side. And there is a small excess at the armhole, about half an inch. I'll just trim it out right there, and we'll move on to the back. So we'll do the same thing we did with the front at the back. First, you align your waist notches and sew by half an inch. Now we have all our panels well joined together by half an inch. So I'll do the same thing on the lining piece as well. And once I'm done, we'll move to working on the neckline. So I'll lay my lining on the main fabric, right side facing the right side, and I'll sew at the neckline by half an inch on each side of the front and at the back as well. So here is my blouse. I've attached the lining to the clothes, and I'll be creating notches on my neckline so that it sits properly. And the next thing I'll be doing, I'll turn my lining like so and top stitch on the lining by 1/8 of an inch. This will help the lining sit properly without pulling out when the dress is worn. I'll proceed to do the same thing on the front part of my cloth as well. So I'm sewing 1/8 of an inch along the V neckline till I get to the zip allowance at the center front. So here I'm done sewing that tiny stitch, and next I'll move on to joining my front and back piece together. So I'm just aligning it and arranging the front on the back. So we're going to sew the shoulder by half of an inch because that was what we cut out when we were cutting our fabric. So I'll sew a straight half of an inch through the cloth and continuously till I get to the lining. Now I'm done fixing the shoulder. So we have our clothes together in one piece. The next thing I'll be doing is to join my side seams together. So I want to do this separately. I'll be joining the side seams of the main fabric separately and that of the lining separately. So before I can do this, I need to pin down my zip allowance. So I'll just take out the extra 1 inch we added for zip allowance so that I can take my measurement properly. So I'll pin the zip allowance part all through, and I'll take my measurement from the center to each side of my clothes. once I'm done marking out my measurement, that's my circumference is divided by 4 on each side, I'll move on to sew at the sewing machine. And here and back, all my side seams, I've sewn them. So don't forget to always notch curved edges, and we have a little bit of curve along the waistline, so notch all your curved edges. So now I'm working on the sleeve. I have a tutorial already on how you can create a sleeve, draft a basic sleeve, but here's a modified version. So I'm creating a puffy sleeve. So first thing I'll be doing on my sleeve will be to sew in my hemline. Next, I'll mark out my elbow circumference and bicep circumference so I can join the two sides of my sleeve together. So I'm done joining it here, so I'll turn it, I'll turn the right side out so that I can fix it properly on my blouse. So here's what we want to achieve at the end of the day, but we'll be sewing this from inside and we'll be sewing it on only the main fabric. Thereafter we'll use our lining to turn it, but we'll work first on the main fabric. I'll be creating tiny pleats at the shoulder side of my sleeve just to create a puffy sleeve. So if you have made a basic sleeve, you don't need to do this. Just join your sleeve together, turn the right side out and fix it round your armhole. Now I have my sleeve fixed on my main fabric, and I'll need to sew in my lining now. So I'm going to turn this inside and sew from inside so I can cover up my seams and we don't have any puckering. So this is a bit dicey, but just turn it the way I've done in this video, inward, and remember we still have the zip allowance opened and the hem opened, so you have a bit of space to sew this in from the inside. So use your lining to turn the sleeve joining all around and do that on both sides of your sleeve. And here's what you will achieve once you have done that properly: a neat finishing on the inside of your blouse. Now we'll be moving on to work on the hem of our blouse. So we'll be sewing the lining and the main fabric by half an inch from inside. Remember, you still have the zip allowance opening, so just turn your lining all through and sew by half an inch. Because the lining is a bit shorter than the main fabric, you may have a deficit of the lining, so just create tiny pleats, pleat the clothes on the lining, tiny, but make sure your the joining of each panel aligns with each other. Once you are done, give it a good press, and we'll move on to the last part of sewing, which is the zip allowance. We'll be closing up the zip allowance. To close up our zip allowance, we'll come through one side of the zip allowance to sew in the other side by half an inch. And once you're done with that side, the second side, now you turn the lining the other way and start sewing by half an inch. Once you get towards the end of that's the hem of your blouse, you stop and finish up with a needle and thread to achieve that 360-degree finishing all through your blouse. And here we are. After the final lap, zip fixing, here's what our 6 pieces blouse looks like. See, all neat and beautiful. And I particularly like how this back rests on me. That's because we eliminated the bulge at the back, and that just gives it a proper fitting. So with this, you can dress up and show up like the boss lady that you are. So if you have enjoyed this tutorial, let us know. Give this video a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, and you can keep in touch with us by following us on Instagram, Kemafrik Fashion, and on Facebook, Kemafrik Fashion as well. So I love my blouse, I love what I'm seeing, and I love to see yours as well. So see you next time.